Hey guys, Cody Wilson, the assistant coach. I'm doing a little traveling for the holidays, and I've been looking at how this crazy season has been going, and I looked statistically at some of the better offenses that were out there this year, and I kind of zeroed in on two of the lesser known and talked about teams that had some really good stats. They didn't play as many games; they played 4 and 6 games respectively, but look at Kent State, statistically 606 yards of offense per game with 283 on the ground, 323 in the air, and then also Buffalo, who had about 200 passing yards a game and about 310 rushing yards a game. And I wanted us to take a look and see what it is that those guys were doing to have such good offenses. Okay, let's take a look at play number 1. So they come out in a 2-back set, twins into the boundary, and they motion, in this case, what I'm calling the Y over, and they just run simple little stretch play here, and they end up with 2 lead blockers. The Y kind of gets like a little bit of a kick-out type block there. Whoever is trying to fill and turn everything back inside, he's going to kick them out, and H is leading through as a lead blocker. Okay, so here we can see, here's the formation. They motion the Y over. You can see how that affects the defense. And they get a seam, and then an athlete is an athlete. They get some good blocking downfield. I really appreciate here the effort. Let's go back a little bit more. I really appreciate the effort by this receiver downfield and the other one. Starting off all the way on the other side of the numbers, he's going to end out down in front. This receiver here gets a block on the sideline, and that's your guy that was on the opposite numbers there getting a block, and they end up just short of the touchdown. And I believe we'll see an end zone shot here. Here we go. What I really like is a bit more of a technique thing here from the end zone shot. I like the center. So the center does basically like a skip pull to stay square and also gain ground laterally. You'll see here. See how he crossed over. Watch the right foot. He's going to stack the right foot that's in front of the quarterback here. He's going to stack that right foot behind. See, there's the right foot stacking behind on essentially what is a skip pull, just as an uncovered lineman. That's a good technique. It's not one that I use very often, but that's a good way to get your lineman moving laterally on a wide play like wide zone, or if you call it stretch, or maybe even sometimes on jet. That can be a good technique to use there. And the thing is, you're teaching one technique and you're able to apply it to those, and then also when you're actually skip pulling on perhaps like power or counter. And then I like that you can see right here one more time the wall that is made, how they're getting their shoulders turned, 73, 66, and 62. Those guys are all getting their shoulders turned. They have a very defined idea of where the back is going to hit this. They are defining the hole for the back by doing this. It's not something that I always necessarily like, but they are executing it very well. That these 3 guys are all in a row right here. We had the kick out by our motion guy, and then 5 is leading through on our filler, which is the safety, the guy filling the alley there. And again, you can see again the good effort by our receiver. Every big run play has to be a big run play because you have pretty boys, receivers, who are willing to get in there and block. And again, this is something that you can show your guys and say, hey, look, like this guy's 25, 30 yards downfield. He's away from the play, but his block ends up being crucial. And like he even comes off the block for a second. You can see here they make contact. He gets pushed off, and the cornerback is going to come try to make a play, but the receiver sticks with it and comes and still gets another piece of him right there. So crucial play there by the receiver to make that a big run. So play number 2 ends up being an RPO. They're running essentially zone here. It ends up hitting kind of backside. But they have an arrow screen going on because they're down inside the 5 on the goal line going in. Z is going to make it look a little bit like he's running a slant, and he's going to try to pick this rover, outside linebacker, safety type person here, as H is running a quick arrow route. The hope is that the corner is going to get sucked in with the Z as he is also picking the R here, and we'll get wide open on the H here. So that is part of the read. Also, I like that the formation is a little unique in terms that Z is covering up Y that gets X off the ball so that he can motion across here. And if you're familiar with, sorry, I drew a blank there, PJ Fleck in Minnesota, they do a lot of this stuff where they are essentially unbalanced there, covering up somebody and getting a receiver off the ball, and they do a whole lot of this jet motion across zone, counter, power type stuff. That's the base part of their offense. So we get the X coming across in motion. He ends up being the kick out. It's basically like running split zone. It's really no different if this X had been lined up like a sniffer or a fullback or a second back here in the backfield. He's kicking out the first thing off of his color jersey, in this case the Y, not the tackle, that's a different color jersey here. He's kicking out to kind of help make this bend back lane. Everybody else is running essentially your regular inside zone. And again, like we mentioned, we've got our screen on the edge there. So let's take a look at the film. So here it is. You can see, again, we've got our Y on the ball, our X is off, and we're going to run that pick screen, the arrow screen up here, and we're going to get the kick out by our X, which this guy might actually be a fullback. I don't remember his number there, but again, it's the same idea. Yeah, he's a big boy. So that makes it even better when you're actually putting somebody there who does that. So you can see this is 44. That guy is not a regular X receiver coming across and able to kick out your man right here. So let's look again up top, the technique by our receiver, picking on the rover here in our arrow. Again, takes a couple of steps upfield, and then he actually kind of settles it down a little bit there so that he does not miss. If he came in there too fast, he might miss here. I do like that he's chopping his feet. The only thing, it does give this corner the heads up like, oh, that doesn't look like a route. So he would have a chance here to come break down on the arrow route. And we've got the regular inside zone. Now, I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew exactly what the quarterback is reading to tell you when he's going to the arrow screen and when he's not. I want to say perhaps maybe this guy, or it might be a numbers game, which, if you ask me, the arrow looks fine. But, hey, they just ran the ball one run and got like 60-something yards. So, hey, there's nothing wrong with keeping it on the ground. Good play. Okay, so that kind of concluded. It was just a 2-play drive for Buffalo to start off the game, and now we've got Kent State coming back, and I really like having these two teams together because they take different approaches. You may or may not notice when we go to the film, but Kent State is also a tempo team. They are going fast every chance they get, and they have some things that are pretty common throughout that they're doing. So here again, they're in 2-back. I call it 2-back. Some people call this 11 personnel. So either 20 or 11, depending on how you count this guy right here. He's kind of in the sniffer position. For me, most of my sniffers, they are behind the offensive line. He's offset, so I could see this, for me, counting a little bit more like 11 than it would 20, just because he is outside of our linemen and not stacked behind any of our linemen. But that's a debate for another day, and it doesn't really matter. It's still the same thing, just what we call it may be a little different. And they're running split zone with the bubble screen, and they've got into the boundary to the one receiver side, running a hitch, which seems pretty common for them. So a lot of times they'll call this the gift, and most oftentimes it's either a hitch or a slant, and then they've got the screen to the boundary. So this would be a pre-snap RPO in most cases. I forget exactly if they run this as a pre-snap RPO or not, but in most cases this would come down to numbers and leverage, whether or not we run the bubble, and then if they're taking that away, we're running the ball. That's how most people do it. And again, the gift, if they're going to give it to us, let's take it. Typically the X is our best receiver, manned up one-on-one, and we'll take that chance. But let's take a look and see what it looks like on film. So again, I think you'll see, they're just cutting back to the offense here, and I think you'll see how fast they go. Actually, we did not see, but they start lining up pretty quick. You can see they're lining up again here, and they're ready to go just a few seconds afterwards. And I wanted you to see that just again, that they are a tempo team. That's probably not 12, 15 seconds after the previous play. But let's go back to the play we're talking about. So again, you can see the leverage over here. There's plenty of space. I kind of like the bubble because the corner is off, the safety is off. The only thing bad about that is that both of them can come downhill in a hurry. And then you've got the outside linebacker here who's getting a little bit in no man's land here. So there's enough there to scare me off. Even though I do like it, there's enough to scare me away from that. A look down, a hitch is no good when we're pressed up man. So that takes me off the gift. So we're back down to the run, which there's no problem with the run, especially if we're doing a numbers game. I've got 5 linemen in my sniffer, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defenders in the box. I like those numbers, should be a good play. So we're running the inside zone to the left, and our sniffer is kicking on the backside. Not a bad play there. We'd like to get a little bit more movement. Our double team, you'll see the left guard and the center are trying to double team this 2-eye over there and not really getting the movement. See, they're right here at the line of scrimmage. We'd like to get a little push about 2 yards downfield. Don't really get it. What I do like, though, is we had a combo backside, and we see this guy coming off to the linebacker. And what I like is the distance here. Like, he's just now making contact. The running back, I like to say don't make contact until the running back is in the line of scrimmage. He's basically a step away from the line of scrimmage. So the running back is 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 yards from I believe this is the right guard here making contact. I like that distance is shorter. If you're making contact and you're beyond 5 yards apart, your lineman is not as good as an athlete as that linebacker, or typically almost any of those other defenders, and you're setting yourself up for failure when you do that. So and you can even see there he comes off a little bit. Yeah, let's look at this backside double team. That's where it is. Slow internet. I am out for the holidays and at my parents' place, and their internet is not as good. So we're getting the double. We come up, we make the contact, and you can even see, even that quick, the linebacker is able to get off just a little bit. So how I said that they were at about 4 yards, we'd really like that to be a little bit less. So, but you can see kind of what I'm talking about there with the distance. Again, this is just a technique thing, how you're getting, you got to drill into your lineman patience, and you got to get your back to hit the hole correctly, and how both of those things, the backfield and the line, are playing in together. But still not a bad play. Okay, so again, Kent State is going to go quick, and they're coming back with another RPO. That's kind of part of their game. Again, quickly after the play, they've got essentially counter blocking here. It's not counter action in the backfield, but counter blocking. That's something I really like, and I first saw with Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley, basically running counter blocking, but running it almost like power, just having patience with the back here. So getting that in there. They're kicking out with the H, but also just because that guy's walked in, and they're going to kick out the end with the guard, and the tackle is going to pull through on the linebacker. We've got down blocks the rest of the way there. And again, looking for numbers and leverage out here on the now screen. Y is going to take most dangerous man between these two out here, and Z is just going to basically be fast hands, fast feet, and we're going to get him the ball. And again, I think this one ends up not being a great play, but it's what they got. And again, into the boundary with their best receiver, they're running a hitch. So here we go. We've got the corner and the safety. We're stacked up out here, fairly wide, trying to take use of that space. Now we've got 2 over 2. I like this more. On the last play, this linebacker was kind of getting out there and muddying the waters a little bit. He's not in this case. Our gift is still being pressed down here on the bottom. And looks like the rest of us are doing pretty good. So again, when we talk about numbers, we've got 5 linemen in our sniffer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not quite as good, but we are going to leave the end unblocked, and we can do that. So our numbers aren't looking too bad there either. So let's see how it turns out. Okay, they decide to throw it. So the quarterback pulls it. You can see he's in the motion here, and he's getting it out to his receiver. Both of these guys come down here pretty quick. The receiver who is blocking, he starts off looking at the corner, and then he changes his mind to the safety here. Can't really blame him on that, but both of these guys are able to get downhill pretty quick, and our athlete is not able to make a play in space. And again, part of this goes back to what I said on the last play, how far off they are. These guys are sitting at about 6 and 7 or 8 yards off. That means they can come downhill quickly. So that's not necessarily ideal with both of them being off like that. If one of them was off and one of them wasn't, or they're both a little closer, things might be a little better for us. But they can both get a full head of steam coming downhill quick. So that is a negative about playing like that in the space that we have. It just depends on how fast these guys trigger. And on this play, they trigger pretty good. Now, let's just look, even though they didn't hand it, let's look again at what we got going on in the run game here. We should, let's see what I got here. Okay, so they were looking for doubles, but the linemen doing down blocks, they get their face crossed, so this end is staying inside, so the tackle's coming down on him. This guard is looking to go down to a backside linebacker. We're looking to block back on the nose here with the center. Okay, so yeah, it looks like that's what we're getting. The guard actually goes back further, so it looks like the center and the guard right here, we're going to try to combo back to this linebacker. And they kind of overplayed it, and I think the linebacker is going to come free there, unfortunately. Let's look at it one more time without me stopping it. Hopefully this comes through well for you guys. I know recording video of another video is sometimes not all that great, but I'm doing the best I can here. Well, play 3, they said, okay, enough of that RPO mess. Let's just go straight up passing here, and they go with the good old air raid mesh play here. So they've got the mesh with the Y and the H here. The F, which I first saw this a couple of years ago with Penn State doing it with Saquon Barkley and I forget that quarterback's name now. But hitting him on the wheel route, I saw them and Ohio State both. They were some of the first people I saw doing it. Doesn't mean that they were the first doing it, but there are a couple of things I like about it. One, I like the wheel route because the X and the H both working inside as they are is going to get a bit of a pick on the wheel here. If the wheel is manned up on the F, we're going to get some space and separation created with that. The other thing I like about it, there's going to be a pick and some separation created by the X and the Y, the X and the H for the Y in the mesh coming back across to the left. So it's not only the one man the two-man mesh here. It's almost like a three-man mesh. So these two guys are going to create more opportunities to pick for both the F and for the Y. So the H and the Y are going to end up, if it's man, they're going to keep running to the sidelines. If it's zone, they're going to sit down in open space. And then X, he is trying to get up in here in the middle and create a little bit of a triangle read. Okay, so from here to there, you can see how it's a bit of a triangle. And he's trying to get in that space that hopefully is going to open up from people chasing the mesh routes or running to them even if they're sitting down. So he's looking for a hole in space to work. And the Z, he is almost like your gift, okay? I think from the angle we have of the film, we can't tell exactly, we can't tell exactly what he's running, but to me, I think it is most likely that he's going to be running a post, a skinny post maybe. He might be running a go route. I find with the X sitting down here, I find it unlikely that he'd be running a dig or anything like that. So that's what the mesh is going to look like. Okay, so here they are. They're lining up quick. The referee's having to tell them to wait up before they can run the play. Now he's getting out of the way. I know if I'm the coach, I'm getting aggravated by that. Whoop. Let's back that up here. Okay, so you can see they're in a typical 2x2, 10 personnel. And again, here's your H and your Y that are about to run the mesh. Your X here is going to sit it down about where this referee is. And down here, your Z is the one that should be running the post. And the back is running the wheel. Now, what I like here is on the mesh, you typically, old school at least, you teach these two guys to slap hands. So the H coming across from the top should take his right hand, which we see to our left, and the Y should take his right hand, which we see to the right. They should be slapping their right hands here, but I'm not sure they get it because the referee's kind of in their way. We'll go back. That's kind of your coaching point on the mesh. That's how close they should be. Okay. And we don't quite get the pick. I'm looking at our X up top with the wheel. Okay, I'm looking at the X coming down. We don't quite get the pick on this linebacker. You can see this linebacker kind of makes his way through the trash right there. We've got the mesher and our sit route here with the X, and he gets through that a little bit. So the wheel, I would say that's probably a no good route right now. But it looks like your mesher, the H coming across here, looks like he would have been a good option. But again, you can see this is like man. Okay, and the reason why it works good actually is you can see looks like we're manned up here. If this linebacker is chasing the running back, that means this safety is man on this guy, which he's running away from him, and there's so much cushion as he's off about 8 yards here. That should be a great route. And you can see they almost, with the rover over here on the Y, they almost get a little bit of a pick on the safety right there. They end up getting it cleared, but you can also see, and this will be the last thing, the X is coming in here to sit it down on the hash. You can see when people clear here how there's space opened up while they're chasing the meshers. So it does open up an opportunity here. The problem with this play is pass protection broke down, and yeah, just a little bit of getting beat up front. So after Kent State gets sacked on the previous play trying to run mesh, we get a punt and Buffalo takes over again. And you can see like how Kent State, one of their go-to things, what makes their offense go around is speed and tempo. You can see already again that having the X off the ball, again covering somebody up here and being a little bit creative and a little bit unique with their formations is part of what makes Buffalo Buffalo. So again, unique things that are making each offense prolific in their own way. So we start off here. It's trips, but the Y is covered up. He's an ineligible receiver. We're running smash over here with the hitch in the corner. and we're going to motion the X in again, making it look like he's coming in to kick out on this side as if they were going to do split zone with the X splitting out over here. But he's going to try to get to the middle of the field and split the safeties and try to get open in the middle here. So that's going to do two things. If it's too high like it is now, when this safety tries to carry over on the corner, it's going to leave a crap ton of space open inside of the free safety for the X to exploit. The other thing is, if it was a one high look, he's going to hopefully help occupy that one high safety and keep the corner route open. If the one high safety runs over the top of that corner, then again, this guy should be wide open. So very simple thing, but occupying the middle of the field there is good, both versus one and too high, to help with your smash concept over here. And then we got regular pass pro here. They're not really pushing the run fakes. The Y is kind of pushing on a run fake just because, and this is a good idea, your Y is probably not going to be doing a whole lot of pass pro at practice. He's probably going to be doing run blocking and then working on his route stuff. So having him just run block on the Sam is not a terrible idea, and having the rest of your guys pass block just because your Y is probably not used to it. So we get the fake in the backfield, and then we're getting into our read. So it's a regular old play action. And let's see that play action take effect here. Again, getting the motion in. We're going to have smash over here. This guy up top is going to try to split our safeties, and we've got our little run fake in the backfield. You can see it even from down here, the cushion. Okay, we start off, press look here. Okay, the motion initiates some changes. The corner opens up and starts backing up, so we got a bit of a press bail thing. His hips are turned already, so if I'm the quarterback, this is huge for me. If I see the hips of this corner turned and his shoulders are open more towards the end zone to the left here, downfield, I know that my hitch is going to be wide open, and you can see him stop in the corner. He's still running himself out of the picture. We need to throw that hitch now. And again, you can see all the wide space from that. So again, I've been giving you a couple of little tidbits here as we go. You know, from the technique on the stretch zone, there was a skip pull, to, you know, slapping the hands on the mash, a few things like that. This is more of a read with this cornerback and his hips being turned like that already. We know the hitch is going to be fantastic all day, every day. Again, let's go back here. The corner, sticking the corner at about 6 yards, it looks like, maybe a little bit deeper. In this corner route, he needs to be, when he plants, he needs to be aiming for the front pylon of the goal line. So that means that that corner from the goal line, not the back of the end zone, but the front of the end zone on this side of the field down here in the corner. You can see the Y with his run block here on the pass play, how he at least slows him down, and he has a tackle because there's not any more of a blitz really. The tackle is able to help him out here, which is good. So we get good protection. Let's look at our crossing route or our divide here. Okay, he should be trying to split safeties. Okay, and he tries, but you can see this hash safety started taking that away. So that's not really going to be great for our play. And let's look at our fake real quick. It's not anything crazy of a fake, especially with everybody pass proing already. With the running back comes through. It's really, really soft fake, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are times for it. Quarterback just kind of sits it down, doesn't get it in the bread basket, doesn't ride it or anything. Running back just kind of flashes his arms over it. I call this, for that reason, a flash fake. Nothing too crazy. And he's looking, I think you can see the running back looking. I think he's looking to see if his man blitzes, which I think, by the way, everybody changed, is going to be either this linebacker or maybe the safety that rolled down late, and he doesn't. So he's going to go on and get out and be a release valve on the backside with a little flare or a swing route. So now Buffalo comes back and they run their own little RPO here. So they're going to do the split zone, putting this receiver, which again they have actually their fullback out here, coming in motion to kick out. And now the apex defender, in the way that I have it drawn, the will backer here is the read. So they've got split zone on the inside, and he is the read now because they've got 2 over 2. They've got one guy press. They've got the safety way off here. The will is the only guy who can really affect this out route here. So if he gets sucked in on the run, they're going to throw it. If he is honest to the pass and tries to cover this out route, they're going to run it, and that gets him out of the box and out of the count anyway. So I like this. It's a good clear read, and it's throwing in RPOs to what they already do with their motion and their split zone identity here. Okay, so let's see how it looks. Coming in motion. Again, let's focus in on the read here. So this guy is our read. If you're the quarterback, you're opening to your right for the zone give on the back side of the split zone, but so that you can read your apex defender here. If you're the quarterback, let's see what you think. Okay, he's stepping up. So running back ain't even passed me yet. He's stepping up. Yep, I'm pulling it, and I've got buku of space right here. And the number one receiver is doing his job. He's making sure that the corner doesn't look inside. That's the only thing that can kill this play. So he has what's called a MOR, mandatory outside release. That's going to keep the cornerback from being able to get his eyes inside on the quarterback and on the inside route by number 2 on the out route to be able to kill it. So that's, again, a very important thing here. If he were to just take his best release and maybe come inside, this corner could see that and be able to blow it up. And there we go, another good football play. Okay, so the first RPO for Buffalo is pretty good. Let's come back and do another one. Again, staying true to who they are. They're in 2x2. They're motioning in a receiver, at least somebody who's lined up as a receiver coming through to run split zone. And they're running hitches. They've got a hitch that is like a gift that Kent State is doing on the play side to keep people honest. That would be what I call a side adjust on this type of play, depending on how the defense shifts and reacts to the motion there. They may take the Z. They've got the X running off the corner. Also, that should help keep this safety honest. He's got to keep getting off the ball here and staying over, staying deeper than the deepest man kind of a deal here if they're running any type of zone where the safety has deep field responsibility. So what that does is leaves the rover here in no man's land. Do I come down reacting both to the motion coming across the field at me and the run action, or do I cover my H here in space? So again, that's going to create a very easy and simple read, and I love how simple the read is. If he covers the hitch, we get the ball. If he comes down, we're going to throw the hitch. All right, so we've got the motion again. And let's go back. Remember, we're looking at this guy. This is our rover who's a little bit inside of number 2 over here. Is he reacting to the run, or is he trying to cover the pass? That is our read if we're the quarterback. Okay, quarterback opens up. He's sticking the ball out for the running back. He's reading this man right here. And I think that's a pretty good read. This defender kind of slow plays it. Him being inside leverage also on the hitch gives him an advantage on being able to break on that ball. So the give is a pretty good decision there. And even beyond the X's and O's, situationally here with 2 yards to go, it's 2nd and 2. The give is not a bad idea ever in short yardage, especially when you know you have one more down to play with. So not a bad call there to give it by the quarterback. Again, you can see down here the outside release, getting the corner to turn his shoulders again. Great job. You can see the safety even is kind of reading this hitch. So even if we get the hitch out there, that safety is going to be coming down in a hurry, reacting. All right, and I believe they go for a touchdown again here, running stretch. So running stretch 2 times and having big plays here. Just regular old stretch, no RPO, nothing special, no motion. They just line up in a nub tight end, trips away. Some people might call that trio. So trips away, tight end in the boundary, running good old-fashioned stretch, and then the quarterback is going to carry out his boot fake here as if he was going to roll back and run like stick or flood or something here on the backside, type of a naked look to hold this wheel there. So again, nothing crazy in terms of X's and O's, but there will be, I believe, again, our skip pull technique on that stretch again. Whoop, the play got ahead of me there, guys. Sorry. Whoop, but we can see it was going for a touchdown. Here we go. So we got our trips. We got the tight end into the boundary, trips away, and again, regular old stretch there. They just run, stretch well. Now, you can see we've gone through, I don't know, maybe 8 plays by Buffalo there, and they've run split zone and stretch. That has been their run game. Again, this is only 2 drives into 1 game out of a pretty big season. I think, well, at this point they had only played 3 games, but it's one of their bread and butter things. And this is what I wanted to get to while I was rambling, the end zone shot here. But I was saying all that to say, small playbook. I know a lot of us like to say, oh, I need to have this, this, and this, and this, and just have this ginormous playbook, and we brag and take pride that we have, 165 plays in the playbook. Well, here we go. We've got a very successful program. And I say very successful over the last few years that Coach Leopold has been there after he was extremely dominant in the Division III rankings. He has Buffalo being significant here again. And again, I picked these 2 teams because their offenses, at least statistically, were very good this year, regardless of the amount of games that they ran. But let's look again and see. Let's watch our center and see if we get that skip pull technique going here again. Yep, there we go, and it's good. I like it. That's great. The thing that I like about that skip pull is the shoulders. Okay, if you remember on previous play, running to the left, I forget exactly what the play was, but they were building that wall and their shoulders were turned. I think it was on that first stretch play. I'm not crazy about that because it defines the hole for the back, and I believe I said that on that first play. Now what that does is means define the hole means this is the hole, running back. This is the only option you have. By doing something like this where the shoulders are more square, like theoretically here with 66, like, yeah, we obviously have this wide gaping hole here. But if things run a little different, the fact that I can see the back of 66's jersey here, the running back could theoretically cut it behind 66. He could do the same thing really with 62 and 79 here. Now, this guy over here that I cannot see his numbers, yeah, I've got one place to run with that guy. And with 73 here, I've got one place to run with that guy. Now, they're both on the extreme ends of this play, which is okay, but as a general rule of thumb, I like to keep my shoulders square with the running back. Okay, parallel, they're tied together so that it gives the running back options. That way the running back can be the athlete that he is. That's why he's playing that position. Okay, one more time. Again, we're going to watch the left foot here. It gets stacked behind. You can almost see it right there, stacked behind his right foot there. And then he's able to open up again so much quicker and cover a ton of ground. Let's just see how much ground he covered. Okay, so he is completely inside the hash. His right foot might be on the hash here. And he takes one step behind himself to stack and then open up again, and he is completely outside the hash. That's covering a lot of ground for a big boy. And now let's just look at the other guys who are not using that technique, who 79 here is covered. Let's look at 79 and 59, what they're doing. Drop step. Yep. Okay, so all the rest of the guys are drop stepping. Okay, not bad. Drop step and covering up. There we go. I kind of like it. Okay, good stuff. Drop step and covering up. There we go. I kind of like it. Okay, good stuff. All right, coming back here to Kent State and seeing just how the two different teams are so different. They're coming back with the RPO stuff again, so they're running power on the play side. They're going to do motion coming into the backfield, kind of like Buffalo's been doing, but it's just going to be a jet fake here, and they're running same side power. Okay, so I like that. We're getting down blocks here, and we're wrapping around tight as we can. Hopefully this Sam is coming out with the jet sweep here. And the real read here is the third level RPO, reading the safety. So we're going to get inside, get a vertical stem, and then we're trying to snap it behind there. If the safety gets tied up both in the motion, which is most likely what's going to affect him, and or the run action, then we're going to throw the glance, which we end up doing on this play. If not, if he stays back, then we're running the power, and we should get some good ground because the safety is not filling the alley as quickly. So here we go. Let's read our safety here and see if we can make the same read. We're safety at the bottom of the screen. Here comes our motion. And that's not a ton of downfield action here, and part of the reason why the play is kind of a late throw, but what really kills it is this safety on the backside, which I'll be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what the solution for that is. But let's look at the run stuff here again. We're hoping that this Sam is going to come. He ends up getting sucked down into the down block, so the down block handles him. Yeah, to me, this is not a throw read, I wouldn't say. They end up throwing it, but hey, I know we're looking for all this to be nice and pretty and beautiful, but sometimes bad stuff can teach us more than the good stuff. So, yeah, if it were me, whoop, I went back too far. I'd say this is probably not a throw read. I think that throw was a bit late, and that backside safety was able to make a play on it. So, yeah, I'd say that throw needs to be now. If you're going to throw it, it needs to be now. But our safety is in the way, so if you ask me, we should have been given it right there. Bad decision. All right, they come back. They're running just regular hitches. They've got fades on the outside, just trying to work space. They're giving us an option for my man's better than your man. Getting deep behind them here on the outside. That should help keep the safeties again deep, and then we're just working spacing here underneath on the hitches. So I believe this one ends up going to our inside receiver. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, there's just space off there. This linebacker is not used to handling space like that, especially on a receiver. So he's afraid of getting beat deep. He keeps some cushion, and the receiver stops. Boom, and that's a good bit of space between a receiver and a linebacker. I'll take that throw any day. Now, just know this is going to come back here in a second. Also, look at the box that we have here. Linebacker, both outside the box, and we just got four guys on the inside versus empty. They're going to come back with a quarterback draw here in a minute, so this alignment is going to eat them in the butt here in a minute. All right, Kent State is an RPO team, so they come back again. They get out of empty. They go 10 personnel, trips, and run an inside zone, which is their bread and butter, as opposed to Buffalo's split zone being their bread and butter. And they run the RPO again. They have the gift out here to the wide side in the boundary. They're running a now screen again, and they're taking their third player here, and he gets width like he's going to try to block the rover, and then he snaps it back inside, getting around the wheel. So we've got 5 for 5 here blocking. Again, Will, am I stepping up for the run or am I dropping? And it looks like he steps up, and we're going to try to get the throw. Okay, so we're looking. They've got trips. They're going to do the now screen out here. We're watching number 3, and here's the backer that we're reading. We've got, again, the gift to the field and running inside zone. So let's read number 3, and let's read our Will backer here that is the read. Okay, He doesn't really step in too much, but maybe the quarterback sees the space that he's looking for by the fact that he's not dropping, and we've got the two wide safeties. We know there's going to be a void there, and he just pulls it a little late, and that time ends up being a good throw, and then the receiver makes a play, being a skill guy that he is, after the catch. What I really like the most about this is the route itself. And when we're looking at the diagram, it was this real banana-like shape. Again, just watch this again. So we're going. You can see those first like 2 or 3 steps there. He's really running towards this guy here. And then he bends it back around, and he's working towards the middle of the field where we have that void in the middle of that space. It's a good play. Now, I told you they were going to come back and do it based on the alignment from last time, and a lot of times as a coordinator, that's one reason why you throw a lot of different formations at a defense early in the game, is to see how they're going to line up for it, and then you know what you can come back and hit them with. And Kent State had quarterback draw in there and ready to go, so they're running essentially the same thing. They got some hitches going. They're doing a variation of the slot fade, which is more or less a smash read on the outside. They've got a hitch to occupy the mic here, and they're going to run just a good old regular quarterback draw here. Now, this may not have been called. This may have been, hey, we're going to line up and run this, and the quarterback has the option to audible it. That I cannot say for sure, but this is something you can always throw in there. Again, seeing that the wheel and the mic are outside of the box, and you've only got the 4 linemen, this may be something you want to build in and have these kind of things in there where you don't have to worry about making the right call. You just got to have the right trigger man on the field that can make the call and change the play at the line. So again, you can see, whoops, wrong one there. They ran the hitches again. Here it is. There we go. Let me go back. Whoops. I forgot they ran the hitches again there. So here we go. Now they've got everybody spread out there. And we got our quarterback draw. And, hey, it does a good job. It gets over 10 yards there on 2nd and 5. So, again, just as a defensive guy, getting these guys that far outside, you got to make sure that you can spill this to the outside. If you can get a seam on the inside, well, we're in trouble, as you can see there. Again, let's take a look at the routes. You can see the 2 here at the bottom and the 2 here at the top should be running slot fade. So we've got basically like the now action. We've got that really short, quick hitch, and he's getting width and working to go vertical. That's helping occupy people. It's also helping, as you can see here, by this being a slot fade, it's almost like the mandatory outside release on that out route that we saw a while ago with the go and the out route. It's going to take the slot defender and turn his shoulders outward. So you can see how his back is to us right now. That's very helpful in terms of him not being able to get back in here on the quarterback draw. All right, we're almost done. I think we have this one and one more. They go speed option. Again, they've got the now screen on the trip side, 10 personnel. Looks like they had a go, or, man, my arrow got messed up here. Now I can't remember if it was a go or maybe a stop route here, but probably a go just to get people out of the way, run off that corner, keep the safety, getting a little bit of depth. And this tackle, his technique is really important. To get inside and then back outside to cut off the wheel is really important, and being able to do that without, by avoiding contact with the end. Because if the end gets hands on the tackle here, that kind of muddies the read for the quarterback a little bit, because he's attacking downhill and they're trying to get as much space between he and the pitch man as possible. So when we look at it, we're going to take a look at how the tackle does this. One of the things that I do here is I get a wider split by my tackle here. I'm a proponent of smart splits. If you don't know that, please leave a comment and we'll talk about what smart splits are. They've been in some previous videos. but that smart split being wider gives me more room for my tackle to maneuver and get inside there. And again, like I said, we've got kind of a numbers thing going on here. We like it over here to run our Now Screen. So here we go. The way they do it is they run it almost like a fake zone. So they act like it's going to be zone, and then the back gets way out there. And the quarterback ends up keeping it. That was interesting. I did not correctly show that in my diagram. I apologize for that. That's an interesting way of going about it, to make it look like inside zone, and then he's hauling butt getting out there. I think that's interesting. But let's go back and look at what I said we needed to look at, which is this tackle up on the top. Okay, so he's able to get inside. That guy, that linebacker walk down or in standing up is wide enough that it makes it pretty easy. But then he's got to get back outside. And you can see him doing what I call a position block. He's turning his butt to where the ball's going to go so that he can get outside of the linebacker right here and kind of pin him to the inside. Now, that's good if the ball were going outside, but the quarterback ends up cutting it inside, and the quarterback is inside of where he said the ball was going to go. And that goes back again to what I said earlier about the shoulders and defining the hole for the running back. When you define the hole, there is one option. You can only go that way if you're carrying the ball. If you have your shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, there are more options. So not that I think it really plays a huge role in this play, but had this tackle had his shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage, like this blue line and the orange line, and our yard markers there going towards the end zone, then perhaps he would get a better block on this guy. But again, that's a little bit of a tomato thing, but I think I'm making my point clear on what is good and bad about those. Okay, and I believe this is going to be our last one for the day. We've got double Now screens, and again, we're running what looks like counter blocking on the inside with the guard kicking out the end and the tackle pulling through with a series of down blocks. And the Now screens are pretty much a numbers game. And that's why I put these dotted lines here as being a little bit outside of our tackle box here. We've got 5 in this middle portion of the field. We've got the numbers to beat that. On the outside, they've got 3-on-2 and 3-on-2 to this side. So that's why we go with the give. That would be a pre-snap numbers type RPO. Okay, here we go. Because they're going fast, we might miss part of it. Got the hand slap. Whoop. Let me try to pause it this time. Okay, so you can see we're running the Now screen here and here. They've got 3/2, 3/2. Both this apex and this apex defender are outside the hash, and leaving us with 5 defenders for 5 blockers here in the middle. Plus we can read somebody if we want to handle one. So the give is a good call there. It only gets about 3 yards, but hey, get 3.5 yards, 3 plays in a row, you got yourself. Again, guys, Cody Wilson, the assistant coach. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, all those cool things. Peace.